We couldn't decide on an intro for this, so I'm just going to put all of them in.
I'm Alex.
I'm Dan.
I'm James.
And I'm Josh.
We're the Ragamuffins, and this is our recap for Slam Dunk Festival 2023.
And this is what really happened at Slam Dunk 2023.
What the fuck happened at Slam Dunk 2023?
And we survived Slam Dunk 2023. And Slam Dunk, sort your shit out.
So we've all been to Slam Dunk a few times. For me, this was my third time going.
I think this was my sixth.
Number 5 for me.
Second.
And, 2023, it was an interesting one. I'm sure, unless you've been living under a rock, it was an interesting weekend.
To say the least.
That way.
Yeah.
A lot of great things, a lot of not so great things. I think the best thing for us really is to just talk about our day, our experiences. There are people online that had, very easy, light, breezy days. But you really don't have to go looking far for horror stories. But for us, I think we'll just take it through the day, I suppose, and we'll talk about what it was like.
Sure. Should we talk about the bands first of all and the music?
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's talk about the best thing about the festival, which was the bands for sure. Did we have a favourite of the day?
I think I have to put Holding Absence in a different bracket now because of just how many times I've seen them and how much I love them. So aside from that, Landmarks were my standout. Absolutely killed it. Such a fun set. Moshed hard for it. Very, very enjoyable.
I'd say Enter Shikari are one of my favourite bands, but I'd still probably say that Movements or Creeper probably took the top spot for me, for sure.
For me, I've been waiting a very, very long time to see Trophy Eyes. It's been, I think, 6 years since they've even been in England. And I'd never seen them live before, and it was a dream come true. I loved every single second of it. I was at the barrier, I was finger pointing along, screaming my heart out, and loved it every single second.
You got a bit of a souvenir as well, didn't you?
Yeah, picked up a set list at the end. I was like,
Always love that.
Hey, go on, get
Silence, please. Excuse me.
What are you done?
You know what? Going into it, I wasn't that excited for Enter Shikari because I've already seen them twice this year. Managed to meet them at a signing as well. So I was a bit like, oh, yeah, it'll be cool. But they fucking blew everyone out of the water, I thought. Their production was next level. It was very, theatrical almost at times. And, loads of, fireworks and pyro. New songs were great. Some oldies in there as well. Snake Pit was a nice surprise. I know you enjoyed that one, Josh.
Throwing down with the hardcore kids to Enter Shikari. Who would have thought?
In the year 2023.
Love to see it.
So we all had a different favourite band.
Yeah, that's
good, isn't it? That's a testament of how good the bands were on the day, I think, and what a great lineup it was.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And I mean, if you were there, the lineup was absolutely stacked, and to the point where we didn't really see each other a lot that day. I mean,
No.
we
I
had.
think I saw you at the start, at least, to be honest, Josh. And then after that, gone.
So I guess it might be good because we sort of had a very tired, dazed sort of recap in the car on the way home. But I guess let's talk through our days, who we saw, because we all started the day with Harriet at the Knotfest stage. Just caught the end of their set, but what we did here was ferocious, punishing, and evil.
Which is what you come to expect from Harriet these days, really. We've seen them a couple of times now and been listening to them relentlessly. So, yeah, we knew what to expect, and they lived up to those high expectations, I think.
Yeah, I wish we'd been able to get in the pit, but, save it for 2,000 trees, I suppose.
So I think after Harriet, we both went off to Trash Boat at main stage.
I think you're jumping ahead.
Yeah, I think you're going a
Am
bit
I?
ahead
It was
there.
Movements.
Yeah, we all
Oh,
went to
God,
see
yeah.
Movements.
Who were absolutely amazing.
They were great. There was a bit of a delay when they came on. They seemed to have a few technical issues, but there was almost like their body language went, you know what, fuck it, let's just go on with this. And then they got on with it. They were great.
And what a set it was. Absolutely electric. I mean, I feel like the crowd, it took a little bit, sort of like probably a lot of people's first band of the day, and then a switch just sort of flipped. Next minute, you got crowd surfers. They had a circle pit. Even your boy went over the barrier. To be cradled in the arms of security like I'm a newlywed. I love it. More of that over the summer, please. It makes me feel makes me feel good.
And I think maybe it was after that we went over to Trophy Eyes, not Trophy Eyes, to
Trash
Trash
Boat.
Boat
Trash
on the main
Boat.
stage.
That was a lot of fun. Really, really kind of energetic crowd. And quite a big crowd. I think they pulled for it quite early with that. Great set. I got to see them do their Linkin Park cover again. And Toby just absolutely
Toby
nailed
always
that scream.
smashes that cover.
It's
awesome.
so fucking good. A lot of
They opened
fun.
with Strangers as well,
Yeah.
which is a rarity. We didn't quite get there in time. We saw that from a distance.
As we were walking over, wasn't
but
it?
as we were fighting through the crowds, more of that later. But yeah, they were really fucking great. And really have kind of cemented themselves as a big main stage festival band now, I think.
Who did you decide to see instead then?
Well, oh god, who did I see after that?
I'm starting to think it was actually Trophy Eyes.
I had a wee break that took a considerable amount of time. Again, we'll get to that stuff later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe the next band that I saw was it would have been
Spanish Love Songs.
Spanish Love Songs.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Spanish Love Songs.
Yeah, because I left Trash Boat early to see Spanish Love Songs as well.
What did you think, Dan?
I thought they were fucking great.
They were so good.
There was a part of me that wanted something off of an older album, but like you can't go wrong with Brave Faces, everyone. Every song on that album is just a banger, and they were fucking awesome and well worth the wait. It's been a while.
Absolutely.
Like I think the last 3 or 4 years basically that I've been trying to see them, they've for whatever reason not been able to make it to the UK. So to finally see them was really, really great.
There was a sort of like a feral, edge of your seat energy in that tent, because a lot of those bands were overseas bands that haven't been here for a while, like Trophy Eyes, Spanish Love Songs, 4 Years Strong, which we'll get to later. You could tell that people were just clamoring for that set to start, and as soon as it did, it was loud. Everything was loud. But yeah, Spanish Love Songs.
Yeah, the sing-alongs from that set, I think, are the main takeaway from it, especially inside that tent. It kind of all enclosed it all in and kept the noise in like an echo, which is really, really cool. What do you think, Josh?
Well, I've just seen here before Spanish Love Songs. I caught a bit of CU Space Cowboy, who basically I was just like, I'll just check him out, see how it goes, but I'm really gagging for a beer. And basically, I was there, and it was taking every fibre of my being not to leave that tent. The energy and just sort of overall performance, the sort of unrelenting sound that band sort of was just... And I was like, the tent for them, sadly, wasn't as full as I feel like it should have been for a performance of that calibre. If you haven't checked out CU Space Cowboy yet, get on it. But yeah, no, the lust for a cold brew was too much in the end. But oh my goodness, I can't wait to catch them again. I feel like which should be attainable, but check them out.
How much did you pay for the privilege of that brew?
£7 Great British pounds.
Yowza.
Horrific.
It's festival season, baby. Who followed Spanish Love Songs for everyone? I think then...
I think I went to the main stage to see Holding Absence.
You were, where I was already in the middle of the pit. Got to see the live debut of False Dawn, which you can check out on the channel. We've got it all up on there.
Nice.
And got to see A Crooked Melody for the first time, which was wonderful. A big launching of the new era. I think that they're just phenomenal live bands. Again, they've cemented themselves in the really past year and a half in particular of solid touring, not just in the UK, but all over the world, that they are a great force.
It's always a joy seeing a band like that growing so quickly, especially when they're as good as Holding Absence are and as nice as they are as well. They deserve that.
Where were you at then?
Thank you. So I was at Fireworks. Now, Fireworks have been a band that I've been a fan of for years, and I was really excited to see them. And then they released their new album, which I don't know if you have listened to it, but if you intend to, I would actually recommend not bothering, because it is one...
See, I think the album's fine, just compared to what they used to be, it's just not on that same level is all.
And like yourself, Dan, because you said that you weren't even going to bother at the festi, which is fine. I thought, no, for the sake of those old songs, and it was literally mind-numbing. And I'm saying that as someone who would say I am a Fireworks fan. The songs that I knew and loved, I still was sort of just thinking I wonder what happened to that person who jumped on that snooker table and threw that orange paint everywhere. That's where my mind was at, not oh my goodness, I've waited for years to see this band. And if that doesn't go to show how sort of bland it actually was.
Was it your first time seeing them?
Yeah.
I thought you were going for a metaphor with that, but you were literally just going, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Was that the World Championships?
Genuinely, if you're watching or listening to this and you were watching that Fireworks set, I would love to know your thoughts, because for me, it just did not hit the mark. But what I will say is I feel that was the only band of the entire day where I just wasn't really there, wasn't really feeling it. Everything else was just...
Where were you at then after... Was it Trophy Eyes?
It was Trophy Eyes.
Trophy Eyes next.
Which I spoke about at the start, but just electric. Unfortunately, I think they suffered from issues getting in because of horrendous fucking queues.
We'll come to that later.
And I think that plus a couple of technical issues meant that a few songs had to be cut, which was tragic because I saw the set list. Well, I got the set list and I saw the songs that had been crossed out in Sharpie, and it was brutal. But no, they were amazing. Yeah, it was like I said earlier. People were just sort of clamoring for that first note to hit. They opened with Blue Eyed Boy, didn't they?
They did.
And it was fucking huge. Those are new songs, like that new album. I'm so excited for.
Same.
But no, Trophy was one of the best. Just one of the best bands in the scene.
So if you have watched the Slam Dunk vlog, you'll see me in the car on the way having a really nice dance to the song Not a Crime by Gogol Bordello because I was so excited to see it on the day. I technically did see it from like literally further afield on Yonder from the burger queue.
Is that Ukrainian gypsy
It's
punk on the
bang.
horizon?
Gogol Bordello over on Yonder. Do you know what I mean? Yes, I was stuck in ye old burger queue.
which we'll come to later, right?
Which we will come to later. For this part of the set that I did see of Gogol Bordello, absolutely bloody fantastic. Super entertaining, absolutely electric. The vibes in that crowd, oh my lordy lord. It felt like everybody just sort of turned up and everybody was just having a good old dance. We were seeing some jigs, we were seeing some like two-stepping, we were seeing that thing where you link arm with your partner and swing around and do-si-do. It was just perfect, and some of the moments of that set hit home, to be fair, because Eugene was there sort of saying about thanking our country as a whole for the support they've given towards the Ukraine-Russo war and stuff like that, and it kind of hit me in the feels, and I was really I was happy to be a part of that moment, to be honest. So yeah.
Well, I think I also spent some time in the queue, but then I saw the last 2 or 3 songs of Boston Manor. I think you'd been there a little bit longer than me.
I'd been there from
How
the
was the
get-go.
rest?
Pretty good, I've seen Boston Manor quite a few times, and I don't want to say like this was bad or boring or anything like that, but I think maybe I just had a bit of Boston Manor fatigue, and maybe also I was on such a high from Trophy Eyes that maybe it just didn't then meet that same level that I was at.
I think Boston Manor are at a point in their career where their live set is so... Like, you can see them twice in a short time period and they'll do a completely different set. They'll have completely different songs. And that's, like, a testament to them, really, because they've got such a great back catalogue of songs that they can choose from now.
Yeah.
But I guess it's just picking the right songs on the day.
Yeah.
So personal preference, I suppose.
A lot of people enjoyed it. The tent was very, very full and the crowd was rowdy. I think maybe I was just a bit tired and sort of on a bit of a Trophy Eyes come down, maybe. So.
I mean, I only saw, I think it was Class War and Halo. But like Halo especially, they had the crowd like in the palm of their hands.
Yeah.
It was very, very loud once again in that tent, and the circle pit was spinning around for Class War, a bit of a wall of death as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, of what I saw, they seemed fucking great.
I mean, despite I guess the negativity of what I've said, I future Slam Dunk headliner in my eyes. I don't know when, but I feel like they're
figuring things out.
They're figuring
right now,
things
aren't
out. I think
they're cooking.
They've got, I think, their identity sort of lined out now, and it's just a case of colouring in between the lines and filling it out. And yeah.
I think while you were there in Boston Manor then, this was when I was in Landmarks, my favourite set of the day. I think kind of got into them initially, probably right after we started doing all of this, because I think that was right after they released Lost in the Wave, the latest album, which is absolutely incredible. And I've pretty much been listening to them almost non-stop the past month leading up to this. And it just helped me. I enjoyed that set so much more, I think, after that. In particular, a fantastic, phenomenal live band. They had the crowd in the palm of their hand as well with it. Some great Wall of Deaths, Circle Pits. Thanks to the guys that were I nearly got dropped crowd surfing at one point. And there's that moment when you're crowd surfing where like you're that far off the ground and like your limbs are like up and they like pick you back up. That happened. So very much grateful for not getting dropped in the middle of that. But yeah, just such an energetic, fun set. Absolutely desperate to see them live when they're next tour over here. It certainly made a mark on me. And probably the most fun pit I was in.
I mean, I wasn't there myself, but the footage I've seen from it looked and sounded fucking great.
Yeah.
Their vocalist seems
Yeah.
like the same live as on record, which is really
Absolutely
impressive.
nailed it. Ridiculously tight band live as well. Yeah, as soon as you kind of heard them briefly sound check, you could hear like the right tones. Everything was coming through. It felt like it was all just melding. And then as soon as they just kicked it off, that 40 to 45 minutes where they played, they dominated that tent, and everyone was watching them, and the crowd was huge for it, which was amazing to see.
After Boston Manor, I went off on my own little adventure, as I often do at Slam Dunk. I went to see Kids and Glass Houses at the main stage. One of the first kind of like alternative bands that I got into, really, which again was excited to hear them play songs off of their first 2 albums. I thought it was just going to be Smart Casual and Full, but they chucked in a few off of Dirt as well, and it was like they'd never been away. They had the energy still. It seemed to have a good passion for it as well. They're going on another tour after this as well at the end of the summer, and they just sounded amazing. And it was like being transported back to being like 13 again. It was awesome.
So where were you at then, Josh?
Well, in the same tent as you, my friend, for Fit for a King.
Oh God,
That was good. I liked that. Was cute.
it was
Thanks,
incredible.
we
though.
rehearsed that. But
Okay.
so Fit for a King. Wow. So it was literally just such a, I would almost say like a perfect performance. They sort of have that encapsulating thing where they as performers put on an incredible visual show.
Yep.
The actual delivery of their product. That sounds so corporate, but whatever. I'm going to go with it. I don't know the gentleman's name, but essentially his transitions between cleans and harsh vocals.
Ryan Kirby.
So Ryan Kirby, thank you for being such a fucking legend and bringing the fucking house down at Slam Dunk 2023. Because someone needed to. No, wait, that makes no sense. Makes no fucking sense. Yeah, so that bassist, honestly, when I found him on TikTok, I was absolutely hypnotized. Like literally.
Yep.
If you don't know, he essentially does that classic sort of like bass spin that everyone tries once and has their bass guitar fly across their garden.
And yet then he'll have like, it'll go like revolutions and revolutions and revolutions.
And he still plays every note in like perfect timing. Yep. It really, do you know what? They were so cool. They sounded so good. It was such a big sound. And yeah, I hope to catch them again at some point.
Where were you boys at then?
Well, after Boston Manor, for me, it was 4 Years Strong, which, you know...
Oh, yeah, I saw a bit of 4 Years Strong. I forgot about that.
You would be forgiven that it was for mistaking it for a convention of 30-year-old men with lower back pain, because that's what the pit was. But no, it was amazing. The same, like I said earlier, like just... People just were feral. Like, they opened with It Must Really Suck.
Yeah,
and
because
it was,
they've not been in the UK for a very long time.
Yeah, I thought the roof of the tent was going to come flying off, to be honest, during the crowd sing along. They were amazing, yeah. The only thing is, because it was obviously just full of like dudes in their 30s, the pit sort of died a bit of a death halfway through. But they brought it back around.
Inhalers started coming out.
Yeah. But no, it was amazing. Yeah, I felt really.
Then you got a set list, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a set list. Can you believe it?
Greedy boy.
But yeah, no. After that, I had a little dinner break.
Mm-hmm.
Chinese noodles. Yes, please. Yummy.
Worth the wait. Now we'll come on to that in a minute.
Where were you at
Where
then?
was I? I'd seen Kids in Glass Houses, and then, as I mentioned, I was on my own, so I thought I'd go for a little wander and just see if I could find anyone.
Right.
And I bumped into this man here,
Hello.
who
What sort of
persuaded
mood
me.
were you in?
We'll come on to that later. This man here persuaded me to go and see Creeper.
And what did you think of Creeper, Dan?
I thought they were good. Whenever I've managed to catch them live a few times, they've always been entertaining. I think listening to them on record, they're not really my thing. There's something, I don't know what it is, but there's just something that doesn't gel with me so much. But they're always a good, fun live band, I think. You had a good time though. You had a good smile on your face. The whole
Really
set.
did. Massive smile. I honestly believe that I think I sang like every single word back. And
I can vouch for that.
I had the pleasure of working with Will on a Salem show, and he was absolutely delightful. So they say never meet your heroes, but Will from Creeper, big up.
Come on the podcast.
Yeah. Yes.
No, it was a lovely little surprise partway through, wasn't there?
Yeah. A really nice little wedding proposal, which was that's like the second proposal I've ever seen, because the first one I ever saw was in Gran Canaria, where this guy did it over his friend's lap, so they were like sitting, and like, could you imagine, like, you're just there and you're like my brother,
Yes!
yeah, and you're just like, So yeah, that was nice, and I believe that was why there was a bit of a delay on Yellow Card getting to the stage at the right time.
Oh man.
But it's cute, man. Cute overalls, that sort of thing. Like, so yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
From all of us at the Ragamuffin.
I'm trying to think. The next
My love, wasn't it?
band that I saw, which all of a sudden over my left shoulder, I just see Alex's grinning face next to me, was when
What was your grinning face like?
It pretty much
That's
was like
cute,
that.
man.
I just looked to my left because I just kind of felt like someone stepped there, and I looked across and I saw that. That.
I had a feeling in the back of my mind that maybe someone else was going to be in the crowd for Malev. So before they started, I was walking around the tent. I thought, I'm going to run into someone surely, which I thought would be Josh warming up his spin kicks, but alas not. It was James. But what do we think, James?
They were incredible. I think they've grown to be such a great part of the UK heavy scene now. After putting in so much work, grinding away, just seem to be playing on every fucking tour and every festival possible for the last couple of years since we've been able to have live music back again. And it just shows off. You can see how people were so into it. The pits, Jesus Christ, that fucking tent opened the hell up. And I can't remember which song it was. They stopped the song at one point and they're like, yeah, that's not good enough. Open it up. And then it got even bigger, and fucking hell, absolutely killed it. Yeah. Absolutely killed it. You had a little crowd surf even at one point.
Had a little crowd surf. I unfortunately wasn't cradled into the arms of security. I just fell over the barrier onto my ass, and I was livid. I sat there like a baby for a second, just looking up at security. I was like, my brother in Christ, you watched me fall. No, Malev were amazing. I mean, put them on an open air stage next year.
Oh God, yeah.
And
100%.
Let people go feral in the outdoors, I think.
And then they got the singer of Landmarks, Florent, out to do the Brian Garris part for Keep Your Distance, which
sick.
he absolutely nailed as well. Like the combination of both their vocals, they really complemented each other. And I think everyone was just vibing to it at that point. So,
and also, you know, if you guys have a different suggestion, maybe shout out. But it was pointed out to me by Bryony that Malevolence were maybe the most represented in terms of merch.
yeah.
As far as
Quite
festival
possibly,
goes, like everywhere I looked, I was seeing Malevolence t-shirts.
Either Malev or
They do have some
Shikari.
good
Yeah.
merch lines.
Which it was cool to see. What's predominantly for some people, they look at it as a pop punk festival, and for them being arguably them or Harriet potentially the heaviest band there, yeah, amazing to see.
Who's the heaviest band?
Malev or Harriet?
What's the song of Malevolence where he gets a guitar and he's like, starts singing, he's got a buzz on a voice and they all get the light.
Higher Place? Higher Place.
Yeah, I like that one.
Is he in the room with us?
Oh, we do have fun.
Who was the heaviest band at Slam Dunk Festival? Tell us in the comments.
Oh, sorry, there was another band I saw before Malevolence, The Main.
Oh God.
I've heard you quite liked it.
I
heard you had a great time.
Loved it. I don't know what happened. I just went a little bit crazy. Like I knew a good few songs going in, and I thought, you know, I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be a bit of fun, you know. But no, they suckered me in all the way. Like the front man was incredible. Like a proper showman, had the crowd just in the palm of his hand. Like I don't know, it was just one of those sets where like you almost forget that you're at a festival. It felt like we were at like an intimate like headline club show. It was just people. He was like making eye contact. He was really bantering with the crowd. Like just I don't know. Everyone felt involved. Everyone felt like even if you didn't know the lyrics, people were just dancing, having a good time. It was just fun.
I think the next one, Dan and me saw Billy Talent.
We did see a little bit at the end of Billy Talent, didn't
Yeah,
we?
and
I liked it.
I don't know what the vocalist's name is, but I'm just going to refer to him as Matey Boy.
Mr. Talent.
Mr. Talent.
Mr. T.
Yeah.
Allen.
Yeah. And his voice really, really holds up. Like after all these years, like it still sort of has that unique sort of like tone to it. Really enjoyable. I feel like the crowd sort of really turned up on that one, and yeah, really blessed because I didn't think I'd be catching Billy Talent. And then
the
was
big
after?
boys enter bloody Shikari, and boy did they enter.
What did they enter?
Another realm, because they've elevated their live show to another level. When they oh, it's good.
I like it. Keep it in.
It went a bit David Brent, but it was good. Yeah.
Keep it in. Fuck yeah.
It's just an example of some of the laughs we have around here.
Right.
When we saw them starting to set up that production on the stage, Josh,
We were
those
sort of
huge
like,
boxes they wheeled out. We were like, "What is going on here? What are they going to do with those?" And it was cool, wasn't it?
yeah, check out the vlogs. You've got to sort of see it to believe it. I mean, if that's what is an option these days for bands, then I think the future is looking very, very bright.
What was the set list like for you guys? What do you think?
Well, a whole host of things, which is good. And I say that because when I saw them in 2017 at Slam Dunk, I believe they didn't play anything from A Flash Flood of Colour. And I feel like, they'd sort of done a sort of real spectrum of their releases from over the years. They even did like a little sort of like nod to it in their sort of stage video. I mean, sort of had a bit of everything. Snake Pit really did catch me off guard.
Yeah, it was a nice surprise because the rest of the set was pretty similar to what they've done on the recent residency tours, and I was expecting it to be basically the same set as those, but then Snake Pit early on, just dropping out of nowhere, was a really, really cool surprise.
I'll say
And
this.
you couldn't contain yourself, could you, Josh?
I could not. I'll say this though. Sorry You're Not a Winner remix. Don't like it. No.
I think it's fine. I think I mentioned this we discussed this on the day, I think, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think they've been playing that song live like for so long that I think it's fair enough if they want to switch it up every once in a while. Although I think maybe if they're playing that version, they should maybe shorten it a little bit. I know it was in the quickfire round, but maybe have it like just on the very end of the quickfire round, perhaps.
In fairness to what you're saying, actually, I would rather them play any sort of rendition of it for any amount of time, whatever, as long as I get to see an element of it rather than them just not playing it at all.
Well,
Sorry.
that's
all right, there you go.
From our perspective, me and James stood a little bit further back when we watched that set, and that especially for you, James. I know, a decent amount of Shikari songs, but that's sort of the recognisable one for people that maybe even aren't Shikari fans. They just know it from like the scene, and like I guess for like us as like sort of casual fans or whatever, it was just a bit felt a bit shortchanged. It was like, oh, the one song I know. There was literally a point where me and James turned to each other and went, "Is this it? No, this isn't it. No, but is it?" And it was just a weird sort of like, oh, the one that I was maybe looking forward to the most didn't actually hit the way it should have done because it wasn't the proper version.
I guess it's a tough sort of thing to deal with as to whether you want to please your hardcore fans or whether you want to like please like the broader crowd. I guess.
Yeah,
I think they really went for the previous on that set, like with plenty of old stuff in there, like Anything Could Happen, Labyrinth.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sort of remembering it more and just getting more and more.
I just remember they played The Anaesthetist as well.
Yeah, and also just like they were so tight, and the reason why they normally are whatever, but the thing is, the reason why it's worth noting here is that was the first time they debuted that sort of like whole sort of set production wise. I feel it's one of those things where a lot could have gone wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if they went out of time at like any point,
it would have
like
just
they
looked...
could have just
yeah.
Because they had loads of animations and stuff on the screen that were timed with the music that were spot on.
It's the future.
Which I think a lot of credit goes to the light engineer, I imagine, for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No, the future is exciting, and for a band that's been kicking around since 2003, and like Rao said it himself, they wrote some of the songs off "Take to the Skies" when they were 16 in his bedroom, and there they are on like a massive headline.
and like for where we were at South in Hatfield, it's just down the road for them as well. It's basically a hometown show for them.
Yeah, Rao said he cycled, and I actually believe him.
Yeah, he
That's
would
so
have
him.
done. Yeah.
A great way to close out the festival.
But anyway, for the most part, bands were good, but the rest of the festival, we need to have a little chat about. This is what you've been waiting for.
This is indeed what you've been waiting for. I just want to point out that on every single Slam Dunk wristband, it said "Every Summer Forever." And I'd just like to say, if you don't sort your fucking shit out, then not a chance, Slam Dunk Festival.
Yep.
well, where to begin? I mean,
Well, shall we do
Oh, hang on a
kind of
minute.
thing and like just
Josh,
go
Josh
through-
has got his
Oh,
notebook.
he's got his notebook.
He's got his notebook here.
So this is
So
page
are we
one.
just going through the? Yeah, let's go through the notebook.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, so the thing is, Every Summer Forever is, I would say, potentially a stretch for this festival now, due to the, shit show that we witnessed and thousands of other people witnessed and experienced over this weekend. To be honest, I think I'd speak for all of us when I say I'd like to preface that to the skeptics out there, we understand that when you're in a festival environment experience, we understand there's going to be an uncomfortable element because you kind of leave conventional societal living behind
I guess
for a
the
temporary...
disclaimer out the way is a different atmosphere to like general life. It was a sold out event, so it was to be expected that it was going to be quite busy. But that aside, it took the absolute piss for a multitude of reasons that we are about to now
divulge into.
I mean, for the watchers and listeners at home right now, I feel like to give an idea, we're struggling to find out between the 4 people here exactly where to actually even begin. To be honest with you,
Maybe
should we just
chronologically might be the easiest
should we just go
thing,
through our day again? I guess. I mean, they didn't start too badly. Last year we arrived a bit later. We weren't maybe as prepared as we should have been. We missed a couple of bands early on that we wanted to see. So this year we were like, right, let's leave nice and early. Let's leave ourselves plenty of time to get there in time to see the bands we want to see.
And the drive was how long for us?
So we left at like 7:30, did we?
Yeah.
Yep.
It should have been about an hour and 45-minute drive, and we were expecting to join a queue, but we didn't actually get into the festival itself until 20 to 12.
Well, I think in the lead up to that, absolute minimal signage. Getting there.
That's a fair point.
We expected to have a little bit more.
I felt like because Dan drove us last year, maybe you just sort of knew roughly where you should be going, and that's what got us through.
And that's
Had that been our first time
although
drive, we probably would have got.
That's something else worth pointing out as well. There's a lot of people saying that the postcode led to the wrong place. It didn't for us.
Okay.
So I'm not sure about that. Maybe they had a different postcode on the socials or on the ticket or on the website.
But where it did
I don't
lead
know.
was a fucking single track road through a farm off a dual carriageway that just creates
which I think is
queues.
the only entrance in or out by car.
that is insane.
I mean, I don't want to. I could be wrong, could be speculative, but it might be that I think some of the artists actually got stuck in that very queue.
Yes, they were, and press
as well.
Yeah.
So like, that's just ridiculous that you don't even have a separate entrance.
I saw
artists and
a
press.
tweet from, I think it was members of Dream State, that said they were in that queue from about 10 o'clock. Again, I'm paraphrasing here. I could get the tweet up, but I can't be bothered.
It'll be on screen.
Yeah,
for
I think
YouTube
they said they were in that queue from about 10 o'clock, and they their stage time was like 4 o'clock or something, and they were there 20 minutes before stage time.
Jesus Christ.
Which maybe explains some of the delays with some of the bands.
So a major element as well to the issues, I would say, is surrounding the car parking, like you say. Now, car parking checks. We paid for a parking pass. Slam Dunk have gone on record to say that the reason why all the issues happened is because more cars than they anticipated attended the event, which they were not ready for, yet they still knew how many tickets they had sold, which was a sellout.
Yeah. And also, if that's something that's going to be a problem, don't have your car park passes on sale right up to the
day of
the event.
And check them, maybe.
Also, they would have known how many people sold car passes before the event, so they could have surely looked at that number and gone, that's quite a lot of cars. We can't sell anymore because the car park's going to be full. But either that decision wasn't made somewhere, or that isn't the actual reason for the issues.
What time did we arrive, Dan?
Into the queue or into the actual
let's
festival?
say into the car park.
Into the car park was probably
about half 11.
Half 11,
because we got there just as I think it was. Harriet meant to start about 22, and we got there late. So I think we pulled in about 11:30.
Did we have our car parking pass checked?
We did not. And from what I read online, no one did.
Christ. And there were also, usually when you go to a festival or any major event, there are big poles with, either numbers or letters or something to signify roughly where in the car park you are.
Mm-hmm.
There was none of that around, and that will be an interesting fact later on.
Not even itchy lot and scratchy lot.
No,
Not even.
Absolute
not in the
travesty.
slightest.
From there, it was wristbands and searches.
The wristband
What
exchange
searches?
was great.
Yep, fine.
That was really quick, really smooth.
Searches.
But what searches?
What searches?
Yeah, sorry, what searches?
Insert GIF of that security guard at
Yes.
the football stadium just not tapping someone down right now.
But they didn't even pretend to tap
Yeah.
anyone down. That's the thing. I had to present my bag to them. They had no intention of searching it. They just glanced in and they went, "Yep, Right.
And it wasn't like sorry, Josh.
No,
But no, it wasn't like, all of the security stations at the wristband section was like chock-a-block. They would have had. I felt at the time that we arrived, if I'd been stopped for 5 minutes having to check my bag, whatever.
So essentially, to you watching or listening at home, you're probably thinking, who actually you want your bag checked? It's not so much about what you're thinking about; it's more about genuine safety. Which
this is a big point I've been thinking of, because I've seen loads of people online saying, "Oh, well, why are you worried about having your bag checked? You can take stuff in with you then." It's like, well, yeah, but if I can take stuff in with me, other people.
There's
can
no
take
limit to
stuff
what
in
you
as
could
well.
end up taking in.
I wish I would have known though, because I probably would have taken some I don't know, cheese sandwiches.
So you didn't have to queue for food.
Yeah,
we'll come to
literally.
that in a minute.
Yes.
Sticking with that point though, like a lot of awful things that have happened in recent years seem to have it's not been that long ago really that some awful stuff has happened at big concert events, and it just seems to have escaped a lot of people's minds that it's like a huge security issue that no bags seem to be being checked. And to be honest, I think Slam Dunk are really lucky that something bad didn't happen. Because it hasn't happened, so it's not news. But if something had happened, it would have been big news, and this festival wouldn't be going on next year.
True.
I tell you what, as well as it's just a sort of general lack of care, and something that holds true here. I feel is that I feel that I feel personally we've been taken for like mugs for this festival. I feel that they've really sort of gone in very bloody minded with probably some cost cutting. Well, sorry, not even probably. Yes, genuine cost cutting. And a very obscure point that I want to make that backs up that point is essentially we've got a cordoned off area near the Portaloos that you would have to get through by dodging all the queues. That had 4 urinals, and then there was just 2 very large trees.
They were very large trees, though.
Yeah, they won't be. They're probably withered and died by now, if you catch my drift.
They caught your drift.
And it was like, when you first came out of there and you came over to me and you were like, you're not going to believe this. And at first it was a bit of a hoo-ha, that's actually kind of funny. And then when you actually go in and look at it, you're like, this is a really depressing scene and like just ridiculous to look at, because it just seems like it gives the impression that someone organising has gone, they'll just piss around the tree, so let's not bother.
If you took them to task on that, they would probably say it's like some environmental thing. I reckon it probably does the opposite, personally. But anyway, it's more to do with the fact that the organisers know it was a sellout festival, yet still opted to have the opportunity to cost cut because 2 trees just happened to be there, and that definitely crossed people's mind, and that is a testament that shows their mindset in this. We were taken for absolute mugs.
I think sticking with that as well, on the fun toilet situation, there was just not enough Portaloos as it was. They were not accessible. I've seen, even for people with disability access, trying to get to their toilets, I've seen them have issues, and how they were located around by the stages. There just simply was not enough of something where it's a very basic thing, like we're going to probably touch on water shortly, that should be accessible, should be available for you, and you shouldn't be having to queue for half an hour to 45 minutes sometimes just to go and have a wee.
I mean, don't get me wrong, we've been to a lot of festivals. Queuing is a part of the experience. It just is. But when, God bless the ladies, the people that can't use the
They didn't have the pleasure of a big tree.
It quite literally takes the piss when my girlfriend had to stand in a queue for 45 minutes just to go for a wee.
When there's so many bands you want to see,
yeah,
and like Slam Dunk's always a really, really stacked lineup, a really, really there's always so many bands that you want to see, and you're kind of scheduling these wee breaks and these food breaks and stuff, and you're basically incentivized to wait until you're absolutely desperate to then go to the toilet,
and it got to the
then
point,
leave a band and then go and be queuing for that long is really not healthy.
It got to the point where, and I respect it, there were some ladies going into that urinal section and popping a squat, and
you gotta go.
Yeah, but it shouldn't.
It should be a thing.
No,
it shouldn't have to
right,
happen. It shouldn't have to happen at all.
But if you prefer a nature wee, then we're not judging.
Yeah,
No.
you knock yourself
Do
out.
what you need to.
Yeah.
I will say as well, there's going to be counter arguments to this I didn't have to queue when I went to the toilet, and there was a couple of times when I went, the 2 times that I used the toilets, I didn't really have to queue very long. But I think that's because I was going while there were kind of big bands on a stage next to those toilets. But the facilities at a festival should be able to cope with the absolute peak usage, I think. Because there's the same argument to be made about food, really, of, yeah, but everyone's going to be queuing for food at 6 o'clock because that's dinner time. So, well, yeah, that should be what's expected, that everyone's going to queue at that time. So let's make sure we've got the facilities.
Well, yeah,
in
it's
place
like when they
to make it easy
they
around
the
that
national
time of
grid
day.
when everyone puts the fucking kettle on after Corrie. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
you have to just think logically. Oh, maybe a fucking shit ton of people might all queue for fucking food at the same time.
I've read stories of people that, and I completely understand why, that just decided not to eat, not to drink, because they wanted to see bands.
And once
They
again,
paid a lot of money to see bands, and that's what they were going to do that day.
But also,
So by the end of the day, you've got people like hungry, dehydrated,
Yeah.
desperate to
It's
go to
dangerous.
the toilet because they've spent this money wanting to see bands. And they've chosen to not eat, but also they've paid good money to see bands. They're going to prioritise that.
I'll tell you what, though. Are we able to bring the statement onto the screen?
Yeah.
Right. Bring the statement onto the screen. This was their response to their customers' concerns. So pause it. Give it a read.
you don't have to pause.
Yeah, but I just want to be silly. I reckon if we could literally pick apart this statement line by line, sentence by sentence, of what it does say, what it doesn't say. A personal favourite thing of mine is that it says at some point something like, there's a bunch of other issues that we are aware of and we're looking into those, which basically just translates to there's loads of other bloody things that we could bang in this statement, but we don't want it to be like 3 pages long.
The one I found interesting was the bit about food, where it said we were assured that we had enough food vendors. So who's assuring you? Surely the festival themselves are in charge of that, not like a governing body or something.
This is a massive point I would like to
didn't
make.
understand that excuse.
They are claiming that they are within some sort of local guidelines, local
Industry standards, yeah.
industry standards. If this is the case, if that is genuinely 100% the truth, then this needs to be looked into ASAP before
Yeah,
next
on a
season.
bigger scale,
On a
because-
larger scale, this needs to be tackled because there is 100% an issue. It's an issue.
I felt several times it was a lot quicker, and I did it myself, to actually go into a queue to go and buy water than it was to go and stand there and go and fill up a bottle.
But
And especially,
then
will
that
say,
means-
especially in that fucking heat of how hot that day was, there was not a cloud in the sky. Water should be accessible to everyone. And again, a basic fucking right to have. And yet, again, same with the food vendors, same with the water, same with the toilets. We're sold out. You're going to promote it as being sold out so much and make it such a great prominent thing. You know what? Fantastic. It's great to see festivals selling out. After the back of everything we had in the past few years, to see Sam Dunk sell out, to see Download sell out. That's what you want to have. You want to have gigs and venues sell out. But if you're not going to provide the basic things that people need in order just to kind of go through daily processes as they need to, as their body needs to, then you're fucking up.
Something else from that statement says something along the lines of, we want to assure you that it was sold out but not oversold. We were at capacity. And I saw a really great response to that comment on Instagram that said something along the lines of, we weren't speculating as to whether it was oversold. We're telling you that was oversold. There were too many people there. It was dangerous.
Well, what I will say about this, and this is a bit, I was trying to wrap my head around this to make sure it kind of makes sense, and I might need to explain it. I personally don't, from what I have gathered, I don't think it was oversold, but there is a difference with making too many tickets available for sale, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Or
I
making,
think
the
this is-
site area not big enough.
So-
This is exactly what the point of that is.
Sorry.
I think.
Yeah. So essentially, what it means is, it's like they didn't see it was sold out and then added a bunch more in their ticket allocation. It was more like they have said that local guidelines have said that capacity for that space was compliant. I mean, it just going back, it just needs
It's
to.
worth like we've been to that very site a couple of times now, and there was more people there this year because obviously it was sold out, but it was the same amount of facilities. I'm pretty sure.
Felt like it at least.
I don't think there were any more toilets than there usually was, any more food vendors than there normally would be.
And
So it was like they knew there was going to be more people there than previous years, but it was like they didn't really prepare for it.
Yeah, and another point with relating to the food vendors, and this was either maybe just an oversight really, is the location of where the food vendors were, because it just created a bottleneck from the Amazon stage, which is where Shikari were, to essentially almost everywhere else in the festival. And like, so when you've got people queuing, do you know what I mean? Essentially just completely.
Yeah, you've got people
blocking.
queuing that way round and other people trying to go through that
Yeah.
way, and it's just a mess. I can't imagine what it was like getting through there for anyone with any kind of accessibility issues.
Yeah, I mean, make no mistake, not every festival's perfect, and we've been to events where things were good, things were all right. There is always something to moan about, don't get me wrong, and something for improvement, but this felt like it was just on another level.
It did feel like everywhere you turned or everything you tried to do, there was just something preventing you being able to do it.
And the comments online that are like, well, it didn't affect me, so it couldn't have been that bad, that just don't help, because like, for some people, traumatic days and very upsetting days where they missed a lot of bands.
To be honest, compared to a lot of the stuff I've read online, we actually had quite a good day.
Yeah, I think, and maybe we're just sitting here being moaning minis, as Josh's mum would say. But I feel like to a degree, we've got to share some of those worst stories on other people's behalf, because they need to be addressed.
Yeah, tell us your stories in the comments, like genuinely. As well as that, I feel as well, we collectively as Slam Dunk goers can make a big difference by answering the they did some
feedback form on their
feedback
website.
form.
Yeah,
There'll be a
done
link
it.
to that in the description of this video.
And this is the thing as well. Like, we've all been to Slam Dunk many times. We love that festival.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The guys that organise it seemed really great. They always put a great lineup together, and usually a great event. Something just wasn't right this year, and it just needed some kind of acceptance that it wasn't, and to just work to improve it and make sure it doesn't happen again.
And our moaning is essentially from a place of love, because we do want
We
to
care.
festival. We want to
Yeah.
keep going back, and like we said, there are people online who have said never going back again, and like, you know, you don't want people to be coming away from a festival with that sort of
I'd love to go
experience.
back again. I just need some kind of reassurance that things are going to be better.
100%, mate. Like, I've got to be honest. When we were sitting in that car waiting to get out of that car park, it did sort of band around my head, thinking, the way I kind of feel right now, they could put on a lineup next year that was 10 times as good as this, and I would still question attending.
Yeah,
and I cannot be the only one.
While we were waiting for Shikari, I was thinking, have I had a good day today? I don't know. And it was only when Shikari came on and like put on an absolutely phenomenal set where I was like, yeah, it's been a good day. But then it's only been afterwards really that I've kind of thought, but I did spend about £100 on it. Was that worth it? And to that, I think no.
The other thing that happened whilst you were at Shikari is I got my first proper go and have a look around the merch tent.
Yeah,
because the queues for that were fucking
all
stupid.
day, there were loads of bands with exclusive merch. Every
have a chance to go in.
band in the day was saying, we've got some merch over in the merch tent. This is the only way to support live music these days. Go and buy some merch. But if you wanted to see any more bands in the day, there was no way you could really go.
Yeah, you're stuck in another queue for 45 minutes to an hour. Like, that is something just logistically needs to be overhauled in some way. It needs to be significantly more open plan rather than like a queuing system. It just doesn't work.
I think something I can't remember. It might have been a Download festival one year, but I'm sure they used to have a merch tent like next to each stage, with the relevant bands that were playing that stage with the merch on it.
That just makes so much
which,
sense.
again, it just splits the site up rather than everyone going to this one merch hub, shop, whatever. It just splits the
Because also,
demand up.
if you
and
come away
splits the
from a
crowd
set
up.
buzzing, and immediately you come out the tent and see that merch, you're going to be more inclined. Like, I didn't even realise until literally while Shikari were playing that Foyer, Strong and Trophy Eyes, two of my favourite sets of the day, their merch was like right by that stage and not in the main tent with everything else. So I walked around that tent,
I didn't even see
the
that.
main tent, and I was like, oh, so Trophy Eyes don't even have any merch here then. And it wasn't until, because Bryony walked off while I was at Malevolence and she just stumbled across it, just going on
I
a
didn't
walk.
even know there was another
Yeah.
merch tent.
So it's just like, what the fuck?
I just remembered we haven't said anything about that Kerrang tent.
Oh, Christ, yeah. So, if you well, I feel like it's tough because I don't want to address, if you don't know and you weren't there, then maybe, I don't know why you're watching this.
Well,
Or maybe I guess you want to know what
There's
it
a good
was-
photo that shows what it was like, which
Yeah.
we can put on the screen now.
Yeah, maybe if you're listening to this and you want to go in future years and you're not sure what it's like, well, let's explain what the Kerrang tent is like, basically. So it's 2 stages at either end of a massive tent. The idea is that one band finishes at this end. As soon as they're done, the band at the other end starts playing. In theory, brilliant idea. In execution, not very good. For a few reasons. One, bands were just late. I mean, that's part of live music, whatever. Bands are late on stage all the time, it's whatever. But, like, we were stood towards the back during Hawthorne Heights, who closed with their Ohio song. I can't remember what it's called.
A hire is for lovers.
Yeah, which had a massive sing-along. People obviously love that song, love that band a lot. But where we were stood, all I could hear was, not their fault, the Spanish Love Songs drum kit being sound checked. And it was just like, what the fuck? Like, even as someone someone that wasn't bothered about seeing Hawthorne Heights, I was like, what the fuck? I can't even hear what they're playing because I'm listening to someone fucking sound check the drums. So that's stupid. And also, there was only one entrance point on one side, so it was the crowd control. Was
It always
terrible.
meant that even though it looked absolutely packed, and like we can put a photo on screen now showing like the entrance way to it. I think it was during Boston Manor's set in this photo, but like I was getting food while Boston Manor were on, and I squeezed in. Like I wanted to get in for like the last couple of songs of Boston Manor's set at least, and there was actually loads of room over the other side of the tent. It's just, I guess, because of the way human nature works. You like get into a tent and you go, right, okay, yeah, this is my spot. But really, the tent was only about 3/4 full. If you could manage to wiggle your way through and squeeze past and piss absolutely everyone off as you go past them, then there was loads of space around the other side. But like, because there was that only that entrance and exit on one side, it was just really, really difficult to get through to.
So fix it, basically.
I guess in previous years where they've not sold so many tickets, it's been fine. But this year, with it being that busy, it needs revising for next year.
There's a few things we can take from this, though. Like, all problems aside, Slam Dunk Festival sold out.
It's huge for the scene.
It's actually
It's
brilliant. And that's so sad that we couldn't come away from it and have that feeling because it was completely tarnished. But Slam Dunk Festival sold out. And to me, there's something about that just actually kind of feels really, really good.
Well, we've come away from the day talking about this instead of...
Oh, yeah. Like,
like this is like the main thing we're talking about, rather than... I know we've already talked about all the bands
Sure.
and stuff and how great they were, but the main thing we're talking about is the negatives, which we're not negative people. We're just... That's the biggest part of the day, wasn't it, really?
yeah. I mean, to be honest, this feels different. It doesn't normally feel like we sit here and sort of talk on sort of like an overall negative tone, to be honest. And that really is sort of like like you're saying, like a true testament to how we genuinely feel about this. But I will say this: if changes are not implemented next year, and I'm almost no matter the lineup, I'm wanting to go just to see. And if stuff hasn't changed, that is honestly terrifying. That idea.
Yeah, I have some faith that they will change. Like they do seem keen to listen. As underwhelming as that statement was, I do think they'll listen. Like they seem to seriously want to do something about it. They have to. Like the press room has been so bad, such bad PR.
I guess if you want to cling to the positives, like we said, the event was sold out. The scene, especially British bands, is healthier and stronger than it has ever been.
I think some of those bands played to the biggest crowds they've ever played to.
It was a joy to have a bunch of overseas bands back again. But at the end of the day, it took a long time to get out of the site.
Yeah, I mean, we were sat stationary for maybe an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes.
Well, you say that, Dan. That was when we finally found the car.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. As Alex mentioned, like right at the start of our little second half moaning section here, there were very minimal floodlights. In the past, they've had like A, blue, like B, yellow kind of parking
and
landmarks,
also,
so you can remember where the car is.
Traffic wardens around, maybe, to help direct the flow of traffic. That might help, rather than just letting it be a fucking Lord of the Flies free-for-all, where people just are beeping and creating their own queues willy-nilly.
When we finally did find the car, we went and like joined the nearest queue to get out that we could, and then we were probably sat stationary for about an hour and 45 minutes at least. until I think someone opened a side gate that we probably weren't meant to drive through, and then traffic finally started to kind of filter out at like an absolute snail's pace. But
Yeah.
there were fights in the car park. There were people getting really aggressive with each other, and not a single staff member to be seen. No one at all. No one in the high vis anywhere. Either directing traffic, like keeping on security. And all it really needed was some kind of like stewarding, just to kind of direct traffic and control everything. Luckily, a lot of the drivers were very courteous, and we were actually kind of like sorting it out amongst ourselves. But we shouldn't really have needed.
It took a while for that to kick in as well.
Yeah, and like I said, that only happened when someone seemingly opened a side gate and just everyone went through there instead. And I'm pretty sure we weren't meant to drive through there.
So, how far away do we live from Hatfield? Where
we live probably about an hour and 45-minute drive away.
And how
we
long were you
got
driving
to the
for?
car at about maybe 11:30, 11:45.
And you got home?
I got home at 4 a.m.
We were, I guess, lucky. People were there much, much later than us. It was tweets from 1, 2 a.m. We're still in the car park. Sort it out. Fucking hell.
Yeah, we were there trying to pass the time, remembering CBBC shows and CITV shows. And yeah, you're never too old for a CBBC show, whatever. But like, there's quite a few of those shows, and we were trying to name them all.
We ran out.
And we ran out. That's how long we.
So maybe in the comments, let us know your favourite childhood TV show growing up. That'd be nice.
And if you were a Cartoon Network kid, then yeah, I envy you.
Calf on my left leg was really cramping up from the clutch control that was needed to kind of
you like
steadily go through the little queue like that.
By the end, the seams of your jeans just split. Because,
I'm like Jack Grealish now with massive calves.
Sorry, I think that reference went over
that's a
all of
football
our
joke.
over our heads. Yeah,
Alex gets it.
I get it.
God.
He gets it.
That's the problem with Arsenal. They
I don't know
always
where to
try and
go from
walk it in.
Right, I guess that we sort of it in it. I've exhausted myself. I guess let us know your slam dunk story in the comments below. Was the day good, bad, indifferent? What do you think they need to change for next year? Have we been too negative? We want to know. We need to know.
Will you go next year?
The vlog for Slam Dunk is out now. You can see the good, the bad, and the ugly from it. So go and check it out.
Yeah, Josh is in it.
Exactly. We've got Download Festival coming up, 2,000 trees, all kinds of good things with festival season. So subscribe, like the video, comment down below what you're excited for, and maybe we'll have something special if you see us at a festival. So stay tuned.
My mum says I'm handsome.
I think you're handsome.
Oh, shit.